This is actually a pretty old video from 2 to 3 weeks ago, I think. So it's a just gonna warn you, it's a pretty old video. Hey, my name is Siwan, and today we're going to take a look at the Bandai Spirits Godzilla 2024 model kit. And I'm just going to warn you, I don't have the box because when it got shipped, like they had to remove the box because it was too big. I don't know, but unfortunately I don't have the box. But I do have the instructions. And lately in the video, we're going to see what's inside apart from the instructions. So let's go take a look at it. As I said before, this is going to be a double review, which means we're going to have two figures. And I think we should start with the skeleton one. And yeah, so let me put up apart the skin one, and let's go to the skeleton one, which is right here. And the detail here is really on point. It's pretty detailed. It kind of looks like the skeleton of the 1991 Godzilla. And you can see it doesn't have the spines. Well, that's because unfortunately I couldn't put the spines. They were too difficult because they're not like just just put the spines. No, there are transparent parts with special holes in it, which like you have to put each in each part. For me, it was too difficult, and I skipped that part. But it's still pretty cool. Just you need to be careful of these spines on the tail because they're really sharp. And same thing for the toes here. They're really sharp. And I think I'm actually the first person in Italy to own this figure. And yeah, it's a pretty cool figure. And when I first saw these images, I think in September, it was in September, I thought they were going to be like the Planosaurus, which, if you don't know, are still a Bandai Spirits product. And they're basically like dinosaur skeletons and the skins. But you first build the skeleton and then you decide whether to put the skin or not. And they're articulated. For example, here you can see they're really articulated. And to some people, it's unfortunate that this thing wasn't articulated. But for me, it sure is because... how do I say this? To me, then it was too much time consuming and it was more difficult to pose, at least for me. But it's still pretty cool. And I actually saw it here during when I was building it, that Shinji Nishikawa, the one that worked for Godzilla vs. Biollante and Godzilla Final Wars. I can't talk today. And yeah, I think he actually designed all of this. And the skeleton, if you look at like in the first pages, right here. Oh, the skeletal parts of this product are original designs inspired by the movie. So that means that they got it from an official sort of I think they got it from Dagon, because in the 2014 movie, like in the Philippines, the military crossed like the Dagon, but it's dead. I think they crossed it in Saya. I don't remember that much, but I think they're inspired by Dagon. Alright, and if you're creative, sort of like me, you can build a sort of museum attraction, like a if you go to the dinosaur museum, you see skeletons and parts. Maybe you can build it like a sort of museum. But now let's take a look at the skin part. Holy shit! Alright, so here's the skin part, and you can already see it's really detailed. The eyes weren't painted. I did paint them myself, but I painted them like in a GMK sort of style. And I did super glue some of the parts both here and on the skeleton so that the more loose parts couldn't break when they're going to fail, if they're going to fail. But I still super glue them for yeah, just in case. And the part in the skin part, the parts where I super glued them, I painted them with some black acrylic paint, and yeah. I don't have the tongue. I didn't put the tongue because it was also too difficult. Like every time I tried, it fell off, and it's one of my most detailed figures apart from the Bandai Presto Godzilla -1. And then we're going to do a comparison with the Playmates one, and you can see the top, like this part of the head, the top of the head, it's more detailed than the Playmates one, and the cheek, I think the cheeks are more noticeable. But I think that's just because of ages. Like Playmates specializing in toys, that's more a fit a grown up thing. I don't know, because if I remember right, like the model kits were like for 15 years and up. So yeah, that's maybe why. And it's really light. Like there's nothing inside of it. Pure plastic. And it was also pretty sharp. But I did like made it less sharp with the sandpaper. At least some parts. But yeah, you can see at first glances it looks chunky and fat and all of that. But I mean, on a closer look, you can see that this part is actually a bit skinny, I don't know, muscular. Maybe just the legs that make it seem like too muscular. Alright, so let me grab a Playmates figure and we'll do a comparison. Alright, so here have the energized Godzilla. And first thing you see is that they're both in action poses. Now this, of course, I did super glue it because it was really loose. I got it in a store, and maybe like some kids played it and it was really loose, so that's why. Dang, I really needed to upgrade it. But I mean, the top of the head, yeah, it's really small on first glance, and the cheeks, they're also really noticeable, but not that much as the Bandai Spirits one. The detail here is very limited, and the teeth work here is barely done. But again, that's because this is a toy. This is more of a collectible. And side by side, yeah, you can see who has the bigger head. And so this one is a bit chunky. I just noticed that this head is a bit more chunky. This one is a bit more elongated. The detail isn't there. The head, they look like they're the same. No, they're not the same. It's still the same design, Monsterverse design, but different companies. And yeah, so there on this one there's a lot more detail on the head. Oh fuck me, super glue. And this one is more of a toy. So now that I think of it, it's not really a great comparison because one is for it's for kids, one is for grown-ups, so that's why. All right, and I was expecting them to be big, but if you collected maybe like some model kits, you know that they'll have really big boxes and really tiny figures, sort of like the Planosaurus. This one, it was like the same thing, but I mean, it's worth it. It's worth the $50 that I paid plus shipping. It was like I think 10 to 20. I can't remember, but it was. But I do suggest to buy this if you're a Godzilla fan, a model kit fan, and yeah. I hope you like this review, and we'll see you. And I will see you on the next review. I'll see you. Also, I forgot to tell that you could have put the skeleton inside of the skin, but to me it was too much time consuming and I just didn't like it. And I built two separate pieces. And yeah, I'll see you in the next review.